what do we have to talk about this morning? Anambra's drive for blue economy, empowering Anambra youths through aquaculture. Yeah, aquaculture is a means of, looking for a way to empower yourself. It's not every time you wait for government to do it for you. Sometimes you need to pick up the granulate and then know what you can do in order to help yourself and then help your immediate community. And this morning, our guest that will be talking about the aquaculture and the empowerment of Anambra youth is none other, as we all know him, Emeka Iluhalu, Managing Director, Anambra State Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Agency. That's FABDA, popularly known as Emeka Fish.
Amy, you're welcome to the live studios of Good Morning Anambra show, and we will know today whether Anambra State government is, divesting into aquaculture in an effort to see that our youths, they are, in fact, anywhere any one of them is, they have somewhere to fit in, not just in tech, but also in aquaculture. You're welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, when we talk about blue economy, I would want you to, really expatiate to let people understand what this blue economy is all about and how Anambra State is delving into it to empower our young ones.
Thank you very much. The blue economy is about the ocean and the water bodies. And actually, like economy is about wealth, So it's about optimizing and harnessing the huge opportunities and potentials in the water bodies. In the water bodies, there is the ecosystem, there are animals there are plants, there is fish, and so on. And then also in these water bodies also facilitate or provide medium for transportation, So these also are parts of the blue economy. So and we see that when President Tinubu came on board, he unbundled the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and created the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. That's the objective, to be able to expand the economy. Then he also created the Ministry of Livestock, by the way. So now in Anambra State, before the Tinubu administration, we had moved. We are looking ahead. So we have the Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Agency, which relates to the marine and blue economy. Now, we have this mandate to reposition the fisheries and aquaculture economy for effective and efficient governance, regulation, productivity, and growth. So in doing this, with this mandate, it means that we want to actually maximize all the opportunities and potentials that we can get in the blue economy and in the water bodies in Anambra State. Now, in pursuing this objective, we have devised strategies, and one of the strategy is that we have the human capital development, and we also have the economic development, and they're working, operating. We are pursuing them concurrently. So, and in advancing this direction, we've been able to attract some development partners, like the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. We also have attracted the ECOWAS Commission, and we're partnering with the ECOWAS Commission in driving what is called the ECOWAS Youth Employability Project. Now, we trained 150 youths in 2023. They graduated 2024. And now the ECOWAS has granted us again to train another 200 in the second version of this program. And from the ones created, or rather trained earlier in the first batch, we formed 8 cooperatives. And the cooperatives are coming up. They are developing and making progress. And they are also, 2 or 3 of them are involved in this second training, so they are benefiting from that. So,
okay, is there any difference between the blue economy and the traditional ocean-based industries? Any difference between the two?
No, it's part of it's inclusive.
Okay.
It's inclusive because anything about making money from the ocean, from the water bodies, they are all part of the blue economy. even environmental considerations, So, and the food security objectives and all that. So they are part of the blue economy. So when you hear blue economy, it has to do with all the ways to make money from the water bodies, mainly the ocean.
Yeah, good to say that it has to do with all the ways to make money. Talking about the water, you have transportation, you have various other industries contributing to that. But now, based on statistics and then based on the recent claiming of some nautical miles of the Atlantic Ocean, which Nigeria has been successfully able to, reclaim. We lost Bakassi, but we've collected some areas, so there's a plus for us. And there's, as federal government stipulated, there's $296 billion untapped resources that we can, bring into this country. We have the teeming youth. It's just the political will of government in order to harness these potentials. Now, this is talking about the global stuff. That is Nigeria, $296 billion in just one aspect of that, the blue economy. How do you think Anambra State can tap into that 296 billion, since we are still talking about that nomenclature of the blue economy?
Thank you very much. You see, there is this saying usually when people are asked questions in a kind of a riddle or joke. They ask, how do you eat an elephant? And many people say you do this and do that. And then the right answer is you eat it bit by bit, and eventually you finish. Now, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And you see, the size of this economy is already known. So it serves as an appetizer. It serves as a kind of bait. It serves as inspiration for, for anyone to know that there is money in the blue economy and there is money to be made. So in Anambra State, like I said earlier, we structured in such a way that it's an elephant, so we take it bit by bit and we continuously eat it until we finish. So, like I said, we delineated the fisheries and aquaculture value chain, which is an integral part of the blue economy, in other words, the blue economy in Anambra State. The only thing is that we did not include the transport at the moment, but it's majorly the blue economy. So now we delineated the value chain into 16 segments. And now in these 16 segments, each of them is treated like a business unit or an entry point for investment. So you want to invest in fish business or the blue economy, you choose or you identify a segment in the value chain where you can come in. You invest in such a way that you know your input and you know your output, and then you're making money. So if you have input and output in a business arrangement, it means that you make the input and then there is inventory, and then it comes out and it's throughput, and you're doing what we call turnover. So once turnover is happening.
Please, can you give us one of these itemized area of the blue economy that you guys have already spoken about?
Example is the broodstock development. Broodstock development is about developing or producing the parent stock for reproducing fish. And fish in this case is various species of fish. Now, there is also the seed fish production. Fish farming, our aquaculture is also farming. Culture is farming. So when you farm, you plant a seed and then you harvest the yield. So seed fish development, some call it fingerlings. Then there is also the fish feed production or manufacturing, as well as marketing and trading. There is the table fish production. There is the equipment fabrication. You can now see that not everything is farming. There is the processed fish production. There is the fish packaging, fish products packaging segment. Then there is the ponds construction and water resources segment. There is the logistics segment and transportation. There is the finance and investment. There is consultancy, information dissemination segment. There is standards. There is insurance and assurance segment. There is pharmaceuticals. There is artisanal fisheries, which is the fisher folk. There is fish health and veterinary services and so on. So mention all of them.
In all these segments now that Anambra State is, trying to empower her youth to go into aquaculture, all the segments you have mentioned, that means one youth or any youth can be in one or more of the segments.
Exactly.
So, if you don't mind, you can explain in details how Anambra youths are going to be engaged in all these sections that you mentioned, so that they will know that maybe somebody that doesn't like really getting to fish, know that there is another segment he or she can fit in.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's correct. This is part of the strategy. We actually, Anambra leads in this. In the rest of the country, people set up a fish farm and do everything at the same time, and it frustrates growth. It frustrates progress because they are run in cycles and in vicious.
Kind of division of labor here.
Exactly. Yeah. So here, because FABDA is the institution that regulates, that governs, that looks to see the best to increase the economic yields from the fisheries and aquaculture, the blue economy, so as government, we have to put up this structure and encourage the actors to invest along these lines. So for the youth, and the example again is that the ECOWAS youth training that we are conducting right now, that we're starting the second batch, it's focused, it's not general fish farming like people normally do. It's focused on table fish production. Now, the reason is strategic, again, because we do not want to train youth for the sake of training youth or to show on the television that we train some people and give them certificates and after that they are not functional. So rather we want to move in such a way that we bite one, we chew very well, swallow and bite again. So the youth this time are being trained on table fish production. It is focused specifically for that. So producing table fish production means producing what we call point and kill. Now, while doing that, because there is FABDA in Anambra State, the role of FABDA is to link these various segments in a harmonized way, in a synchronized way. So there are others that produce seed fish like fingerlings and so on. They are not, it is not the core curriculum of the training, but we are creating business for them, because the more table fish producers exist and as they progress, the more fingerlings will be needed, or the more seed fish will be needed, and the more feed will be needed. Then on the other hand, there are the off-takers, the ones that buy the fish and eat directly, or they are distributors, or they process the fish. So now, what has happened is that because of this focus, just because we are developing and growing table fish producers via the youth, 3 other or 4 other businesses in the value chain are activated, and they are following just like a snail and the shell, and that's actually what is called the value chain. So several times we have these things happening and there is no connection to that. So this is how we have been able to focus, and it's logical. We have a vision in Anambra State to be the largest fish producing state in West Africa, and we are specific about which areas we want to be largest. Not in everything. We want to be largest in seed fish production. We want to be largest in fish feed production. We also want to be largest in processed fish products.
All right, there's something. Please, studio, if you don't mind, these pictures. There's another one I would want you to, I don't know whether this is your work or what you're doing in Anambra State, or similar thing you're doing.
Yeah,
so you can explain to us what that stands for. And there's another picture that was shown there too.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, the picture shows a fish pond,
okay.
And it's a concrete pond, and you can also observe that there is cover in these ponds. So the reason for the cover is to protect, you can see fish. Now, this is a fishing pond. Now, you can notice that this pond is rectangular, in shape. And there is a length side, there is a width side, and there is a depth. So the 3 dimensions. These 3 dimensions has a very important meaning or role in doing business. So if you want to produce table fish, because this is how to produce table fish, by the way, it's the same pond you can use to produce table fish or do development of broodstock or even do fingerlings. So to produce table fish, you need to get the dimension of this and calculate what the capacity the tank can take. And then with that, you can continuously produce your fish and you grow thereby. Before now, what people do is that they just construct pond, they don't even mind, they don't consider what the dimensions are and all that. So, and then somebody gets some invest money and then it's leaking. The money is growing and is reducing, and then after some time he gets frustrated and he abandons it. So what we are looking at is that once we build up we are systematically building up the number of youths getting involved in table fish production, focused activity in the value chain, so that eventually they will go and take some of these ponds that are abandoned and show and demonstrate what they can do with it. They can even lease it. And we already started some of it also.
Now, there is a business aspect to it. Somebody might not actually be interested in wanting to actually be the one doing this. Now, the business aspect of it is, how can the person come in, invest using FABDA so as to make money? Is there a possibility of that actually happening? Let's say an entrepreneur, somebody that wants to delve into this and make money, is out there to make money. Can he come to your agency or whatever? Is there a process where something of such nature, not that you're going to be grooming him, but he has the cash and he wants to invest, and then there's going to be your terms and conditions. Okay, this is what I will be making at the first quarter or second quarter, anything. Just give us a business model on how an individual can come in and invest.
Yes. Thank you very much. For sure, that's actually why FABDA is there. FABDA is Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Agency. So we are agents to develop the fisheries and aquaculture, business in fisheries and aquaculture. So when an investor or potential investor approaches FABDA, because, I've mentioned all the segments, because FABDA is there overlooking and governing the value chain, FABDA has the data, the information of where there will be best investment at every point in time. For example, for Anambra State, we have set targets for table fish production volume. We've, set our target that we want to attain 51 million kg per annum of table fish in the state. And, there is a consequence. There is a relationship between this and the input and then the offtake, like I already mentioned. So if we're doing 51 million kg per annum, if we achieve that, it means also that we will have been able to have corresponding supply of the seed fish and also corresponding supply of the fish feed. So when somebody comes to FABDA, for example, to inquire on, to get a guide on investment, we look at the state of activities in the value chain at the point the person came and give the best advice on the best place to invest. For example, somebody that wants to invest in fish may not need to invest in table fish production, where there is already lots of activity there. The person might decide to go into product packaging. So he just orders the fish from the table fish producer, and then the one sends it to processed fish producer, and then the fish is processed, and then it's delivered to him, and then he packages it and gives his brand, and that's the product. The important thing about this is that because FABDA is there governing everything, the standard is already assured. And if 3 people or 10 people come to invest, the minimum standard is maintained because there is no wrong fish. There is governance, there is regulation. So somebody can just sit at home and order, and then money goes to table fish, money goes to processed fish, money goes to packaging, and then the product is out. You can send it to any country, you can do export. So that's where we're headed for.
Apart from that, quickly before we go for break, can philanthropists in Anambra come in to support, in making sure that more youths are brought into FABDA to be trained and nurtured into aquaculture?
Yes, of course. As I'm speaking with you, there are 2 entities that have approached us. One is already planning to support the two cooperatives from the last ECOWAS youth training. Okay. Yeah, because, excuse me, they came in to try to do youth training. And we told them, look at what we have. We've done youth training. These ones have been formed they formed cooperatives, but they also need funding to progress their fish production. So, and after consideration, they looked at the records, looked at the videos, documentaries, looked at everything. They went back after some days. They came back and said, instead of reinventing the wheel, because it's the same objective, they want to empower the youth. So they want to now see how to give these ones that have already been trained, not starting from scratch, meeting them where they are. So we are discussing that now, fine-tuning it. So it's something that is already happening.
All right, in case you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Anambra show, talking about youth empowerment in the area of aquaculture through the blue economy. We have Emeka Ilogalo in the studio talking to us, and we're going to take a very short break at this point. We'll return after now to bring you more. And Emeka will let us know how youths that are watching this program and are interested in what they are doing, how they can actually join what they are doing. That will be when we return from the break. Do sit back.
Glad to still have you join us as you discuss the blue economy empowering Anambra youth through aquaculture on Good Morning Anambra this morning. And we still have Emeka Fish here in the studio telling us how to go about the process. And before we went on that short break, we were talking on how these Anambra youth can get this employment, put food on the table, and then drive poverty and hunger to its barest minimum. Now, when we're talking about this, recently we've had issues of, Fulani headsmen, cattle rearers, and the rest of it all, stopping people from going to farm. But I don't think we'll have any of such talking about the blue economy in this area, because except maybe you guys will be battling with pirates on the high sea. Other than that, I think this is still a very, very good and veritable source of economy, you understand, IGR, for any state that is willing. But now, how willing, or what's the political body language of Anambra State government in empowering youth through this means?
Clearly, we did not have, in a long time, we did not have these youth trainings. Okay. And I'm not sure of any state that is doing the kind of quality of youth training we are doing in Anambra State. You see, the governor came in, and our governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, he came in with a manifesto, and he said he wants to make Anambra State, this administration, to be a livable and prosperous homeland. So now we are training these youths to become functional. And as I'm speaking with you, the ones that we are trained with ECOWAS are already functioning. The last month, between 4th and the 9th of August, 30 fish producers were trained in Oka by Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations under the Fish for ACP program. Fish for ACP is a global program that involves 12 countries from Caribbean and now Anambra is benefiting from this, and it is because of the governor and the environment here. So this government has the positive body language, has the wherewithal, has the determination to maximize these potentials and opportunities in the blue economy. So as we are today, we are counting our milestones, and then we are aiming for more.
Right. Now that you're aiming for more, counting the milestone, what has FABDA been able to do in harnessing the potentials of those riverine areas where actually fish fishing is their preoccupation. Is there any collaboration with Anambra State government using FABDA in order to enhance and boost food production, fish production, and then probably, will I say, make it a veritable source of revenue generation?
Thank you very much. Okay, there is a graph I would have loved to show on the screen. Now, the global fish is declining, fishing from anywhere, because the ecosystem, animals and human beings are competing with fish. Some animals also eat fish. So, and that is the reason why aquaculture is the way to go if we're going to continue to have fish, protein from fish. So, these riverine places have traditional cultural practices of fishing. There is potential there, but it is on the decline. Now, these are facts, and that is what happens when government is in a position to solve a situation or to help. Now, we are aware that these resources are declining, and if we encourage more people to go fishing, they will fish nothing and they will actually go hungry. Now, we are strategically encouraging aquaculture. There is also what is called cage culture. In the water bodies, you can put cages there and grow fish under captivity and harvest them at will. So now these are the things that are on our table, are we already dealing with. So the riverine, the fisher folk, as we call them, they are being exposed to the importance of aquaculture in order to maintain and keep their livelihood, so that they don't just, get frustrated and finish suddenly. So there's potential there, and we're doing it.
The target is on young ones, the youth. And there's what is trending with these youth, and that is technology. I met a young boy last 3 weeks. In fact, the guy has finished school, he's doing internship as a medical doctor. But you know what he told me? That he's not going to practice, he's going into tech, because that is where his passion lies. He actually noticed that he's going into tech in year 3 of his medical school. So now, are you people leveraging technology in what you're doing? If yes, how are you doing that to ensure that these youths get attracted into what is happening in the state? Thank
you very much. Now we are actually, the ECOWAS training is about tech. Okay. ECOWAS is supporting the technology that is called 10 PROIS. The 10 PROIS is a business solution, fish production business solution, and it is about a system for producing fish and maintaining the principles of business, as well as using technology to operate everything and take business decisions. It's based on data. Now, the temporary system allows you to, first of all, create a forecast of your production operation. Then you have an idea of what the financing will be like and what the return on investment will be like before you touch anything. Now, once you do that, and it can, you can scale it, you can look at it in terms of micro scale, in terms of small scale, medium scale, large scale, as the case may be. Now, once you look at that, now you go in further to now do your practical work plan, or what you call business plan. Now, as you begin to implement your production operation, which is business, the temporary is an operating system which is computer-based. It's living in the cloud. Now, there is an Android app that you use to upload your production data. Now, as you're uploading your production data, it goes there to match your forecast. So how it operates is you stock your fish. When you stock your fish, you count it, you weigh it, you record. Now, you feed your fish, you weigh your feed, you feed, and if it remains, you weigh the balance and you remove, and then you have the net that the fish have taken. On a weekly basis, you must grade your fish. Grading means keeping them uniform sizes so that they can have fair opportunities, so that some will not oppress the others or swallow the others. So, and then when you do this grading, you also record and upload. As this data is going into TemproWiz, it is matching it with your forecast. And you can display it in different ways. You can display in number, you can display as graph. And then you see whether you are on track according to what you planned. If you're on track, fine. If you're not on track, you see what the disparities are. If you are operating below, you zoom in at the date at that point, and you see the solution, the reason, actually, the problem immediately. While producing, your target is to at least maintain your plan or exceed it. So, and you have placeholders. You have the handles to be able to control this. So this is what the youth have seen, and they see how interesting it is. It's just that you put fish in the water, and you come to you check, and then you put feed. You don't know whether you're overfeeding. You don't know whether you're underfeeding. You only know the day you harvest after 6 months, and then you see that you stocked 10,000 fish, and you only see 1,000, and everything is gone. You don't even know how it happened. So this is what the technology of TemproWiz system has, brought to play.
Currently, I don't know how you guys are doing it. We see in one youth to skill, they bring in youths. I don't know whether they are camping or something. After some weeks, they are trained. So how do you guys do it? Do you bring in these youths? Do you have a place they stay, to learn these things? Do you take it to them in schools? How do you go about getting these youths? Are they equally showing interest in what is happening? So currently, tell us the state of Anambra State as regards the training or rather the empowerment of our youths in this regard.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, like I mentioned, we put thought into our training of the youth, because we have an expectation that they must be functional, they must add to the GDP of the state. They have to produce, they must be productive after being trained. So based on this, number one, we started from the selection stage to determine and to make sure that we are getting the right people that have the right interest. First of all, the youth criteria is the 18 to 35 years. Then that's the age range. Then we made each of them that applied to get a referee. Okay. So the referee will help us when we need to have conversation. If there is challenge and somebody is showing signs of not being serious, we need to get the referee involved, and then it becomes easier. Then, in that regard, it formed our initial criteria, template, yes. Now, after that, you see, 150 youths being camped together for 4 months is not simple. It's not easy. So what we did was we created business groups from the 150, and we made them to be in 25. In 6 groups, each group comprising 25 youths. Now, we gave them the fish tanks and the fish and the feed and all that they need, all the tools they require, the TemproWiz system and all that, to operate. So they are running this business as a group, just like board of directors, but they're now 25. So now amongst them, they choose the ones that will, because the fish has to feed every day, But if 25 persons stay there and 150 stay in one location, it might be loss of, it might not be so efficient, because people should be doing other things, while you're doing. And that's the essence of having technology. So each of these business groups have their WhatsApp group. Okay. So they choose among themselves at least 5 persons that will be there every day. Now, some of them rotate, some go and visit, but those ones are on site and they generate the data on daily basis and post it in their WhatsApp groups. Now, technology, you see. Now, every member of the business group, he has access to the data.
Information.
Yes, every day.
Now, this popular saying that a goat that is being fed by multitude will die Emeka has fed the goat. Ajubu should have taken care of the goat. Noye ought to have fed the goat. And then you see a goat macheting, and then before it gets happen, we have no goat.
I'll tell you about that. Okay. Now, this is part of our pedagogy for the training, you know. Now, what we make them to understand, remember I said they make a forecast of the business. So it is business training we are doing, and each of the group is oriented properly. They know they are meant to make money. We have set the targets for them. So we show them all they have to achieve. Now, and that's what I mentioned, that they select who will be in the site at every point in time. So responsibility is given. It's not if you have chance, you come. You know, it's not like that. So, and this is what they have.
You probably choose days.
They choose days and then they write it. They show us the roster ahead of time, so that it will not be that they will make mistake and we'll find out later. We will be sure that they are on track and they are doing what they ought to do. So, and it also, this shows them or exposes them to the fact that even when they have a cooperative, people have some different views about cooperative. They think when you are in a cooperative, everybody must come and contribute in feeding the fish or doing. No, it's not like that. It's a business. So for the cooperative, you bring in your head, your ideas, your everything you have to leverage. You're bringing everything, all the strengths all the members have, and focusing, channeling it to actualizing the business. So for the cooperatives, they have a staff on ground, not necessarily their member. It's part of the business. So when you're doing a business, you have overhead. You can employ somebody and give the person or the people job description. You know, so the business is owned by the cooperative. That's why I mentioned it's like the board of directors. So, and then it is run with business principle against what people call fish farming, where you have a farm and you're doing everything. And then when you look at the cash flow, it's chaotic. You know, suddenly the money leaks away, and then nobody knows where the money comes from. Has gone.
All right. I know. In whatever we do in life, there must be challenges, and I don't know your biggest challenge in the blue economy. In the implementation of the blue economy strategy. Are there challenges you're facing? And if there are, of course, of which I know there may be,
there are, of course,
what are the
several
ways, what are the ways you navigate through these challenges to actually do what you're doing and get results?
Thank you very much. You see, for example, the last illustration I gave about the way we group these youths in the training, it's as a result of past experiences, actually. We didn't just start doing. So we noticed that in training, some will hide behind, some will not even understand what has happened. At the end, they come to demand for certificate. And even when you graduate them, they are not functional. They cannot do anything. They don't understand. So that's why we broke them into smaller groups and then gave them tasks. So they have leadership. They have president, they have secretary, and then they have the financial secretary as well. They have the treasurer. So they operate in the training as if they are doing pseudo business, So, and after that, and truly in the last time, it was the same business group that transformed to cooperatives eventually. So challenges are there. There are lots of them, but we treat them, we engage them as they come, and then we walk around it. We look at what it is and provide prefer mitigations to them. So what has helped us in this regard is that we first of all understand that we can do a lot with creativity. So we have open mind. Whatever we encounter, we look at it. We have a conversation. We have a roundtable engagement. And in fact, from the beginning, FABDA started with actively engaging the stakeholders. In Anambra State, there are groups, several stakeholders in the fisheries and aquaculture sector. At Ose, Onitsha, the dry fish market, that's a very big market. It's the largest in West Africa. And, you can even try to compare to Africa. Now, all manner of smoked or dried or processed fish come in there and sell in billions on a weekly basis. Now they have organization, and we are in contact with them. We are relating with them. Part of the things we're working to do is to transit, to be able to produce the fish that is sold there, supply from Anambra State, because mostly it's coming from outside, you know. So now these are opportunities, and we will not be able to meet what the market needs or upgrade the market if we are not in contact. So, and that's why we always have with their leadership, the fish, there is the fresh fish sellers as well at Onitsha. These ones also, we're in contact with them. They bring from the West and bring from different parts of Nigeria. And then we use all these things to continue our improvement. So as we're training and developing these young people and giving them targets for the volume for production, at the end of the day, we all meet somewhere, and then we are getting a better and more harmonized in our state.
Thank you so much for that. Quickly, when are we going to hit the target, the 51 million metric tons?
Now let me tell you, it's just the way you drive, right? If you are traveling to Enugu from Oka, for example, if you're going on the expressway, you will see those milestones. They say 20 kilometers to Enugu, 10 kilometers to Enugu. That's how you see that's how you know the progress and that they are making progress. So that way, because we already have figures, you understand, that's the big thing, to have figure. Now, we are training from small, from little, we are forming the core. And forming the core is the most difficult part of the job. There is a threshold we will reach. The growth will now become geometrical, and then move in quantum. So, and we are aware of that. So, we may not be able to put the time in, but we know that we are moving.
All right, it's been great having Emeka Iloalo, Managing Director, Anambra State Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Agency, FABDA, in the studios of Good Morning Anambra show today. Thank you so much for your enlightening capacity this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and that's it on our discussion for this morning. We'd like to thank you so much for this part. More is coming up.
And that will be Catch the Bus, where we'll bring you trending news happening on the internet to just whet your appetite and make you a little bit, you understand, easy going for today. We have a whole lot to you. Just sit around. There are some interesting stories that will make you laugh, and then you begin to wonder how much we bring the mix to you on a daily basis. Thank you. And for now, sit around while the show continues.